of what story to tell tonight, and I was, not tonight, but earlier in the week. Ann got me at church, which I think was really unfair, you know. But I had seen my pendant, and it says Lucky 7 and Nancy. And I have not worn or put this on in 20, 30 years. And I'm going to tell you how I became part of the Lucky 7 Club. So it was summer of 1978, and I was 8 years old, and my family was on a summer vacation, and not like the kind people go on nowadays. We were loaded up in a motorhome, and we were traveling cross country. My dad's family lived in Ohio, so he really always wanted us to see the country, you know, see the Grand Canyon, biggest ball of twine, all that kind of stuff, you know. And we had actually must have already picked up my grandparents from Ohio, and we had traveled to other states or something, and we were driving back through Virginia. Has anybody been to Virginia before? Okay. And actually we were driving in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Has anybody driven? Screw the Blue Ridge Mountains. So, I'll tell you why. My head and the Blue Ridge Mountains have a very close, intimate relationship. So, we were driving along, and we're on Skyline Drive, which was in a national park. I'll remember it after I'm done, I'm sure. Anyway, and it takes you up the mountains. It goes about 3,000 some feet in elevation, and it's this 2-lane road going up the mountains. And it was my dad driving, my sister's in the passenger seat. It's a Fireball motorhome, you know, old school. And at the dinette is my brother, myself, my grandma, and my grandpa, and my mom is in the crapper, no shit. And so we're sitting there, and we're going up the mountain, and I must have been nervous about it because you can't see down the side and all that. So I think I asked my mom, can I go above, you know, the bed that's above the cab that someone's driving? And can I take a nap? And she kind of said, you know what, why don't you wait till we're down off the mountain? I said, okay. So we're driving along, and the window is open, which is like the worst rule ever when you're driving in a motorhome if the window's open and the screen is closed, you know, because, you know, you'll blow your window out, kid, fragile. So anyway, my brother is going to go over to shut the window, but he's like 2 years older than me, he's 10. So he's trying to hop, because the sink is there, and he can't reach it, and he can't shut it. And for whatever reason, it made my grandpa laugh. And within that minute, my dad looked back for half a second. And that's pretty much when everything changed. So he looked back, and our front tire caught on the rock that goes along the winding road of 3,000 feet, and over the mountain we went. So it's an interesting thing at 8 years old to fully understand gravity on a totally different level when you are not on a roller coaster. And it's funny because you think, you know, that things are crazy, but I can remember that slow motion. I can remember light and dark, and so we went over that. It was like being in a dryer, and I am the youngest child, and I have an older brother, and I could say with experience what it's like to be in a tumbling dryer, and it was like that. And so we went over, we flipped, and we went down, however many feet, and stopped somehow. So if you like miracles, buckle up, Buttercup, you'll like this shit next, really. So it stopped. Now, when we were up top, we had John Denver, Rocky Mountain High playing. I know it's not geographically correct, but I didn't know I'd be going over the mountain to make it work right for like country roads or something. So it was blaring on the 8-track still. The horn was the 8-track, yes, that old. So the horn was stuck, and the smell of gasoline was overwhelming. And my dad, who I don't think I'd ever seen cry up until that point in my life, turned around and screamed, "Everybody out!" You know, screaming, crying. The only problem is we couldn't get out. The motorhome was on site, so the door, the windows were on the ground, and the top bunk that I was going to go take a nap in was crushed, and the windows were all ajar. Nobody could get out. My brother ends up running up the hill. To this day, he said someone pushed him out the window. Nobody touched my brother. There was no window to get out of. So he goes and runs up the hill. Oh, by the way, our car got stopped by 2 trees, which were the only 2 trees that caught onto our bumper, 2 spindly trees that stopped our car, and if they wouldn't have, it was more hundreds of feet down till the next tree. So that was the miracle on that. My brother runs up, waves down the car. The first car he waves down is a Boy Scout troop that's on their first trip to learn first aid. And practice. We gave them really good practice. So they had a stretcher, medical supplies, everything. Got us all up to the top. When people, if I'm a little weird and stuff, I say I got hit in the head. It's the truth. I hit my head on the air conditioner and had a huge bump. My brother had Kool-Aid in his ears. I'll always remember that. Knives and everything in the cushions, but everybody's got bruises, bumps, and we were all discharged from the hospital. And the police and fire said that it was the first time anyone had ever gone off that mountain and there was no fatalities. So anyway, after we got home was my first plane ride home. And see, accurate, I timed it to you. And we all got these because there were 7 of us, and it said lucky 7, Nancy. And I think every day is extra. That's my deal.